All right, thanks everyone for joining. We have pillar and post inspections here, and so I'll let you just take over and do your thing.
Yeah, you bet. So I'm Brendan Marchant. Sean and I have known each other forever.
For years now.
For years.
Wow.
It goes pretty fast, but this is the first in-person meeting I've been to in like 2 years. So I'm either going to totally bomb what our conversation is today, or it's going to go pretty well. I have taught, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of clock hour classes over the years that I've been inspecting. And so hopefully that just comes right back. And if not, then it doesn't. But just a little bit quickly about myself and then about our team, so you guys can get to know us a little bit better. So once again, I'm Brendan. I've been in home inspection 17, 18 years now. I have a little bit less of a baby face than I did when I first got started, but it's still there. So it sometimes doesn't look like I've had as much experience and fun as I have, but it has. And I've got a really fantastic team. Christina, who's here with us, is our marketing specialist, and she's typically pre-COVID. You'd see her a lot, bringing things through offices, and she was able to get out a lot, and it's finally getting back to those times where we can re-embrace the in-person stuff. I have also a really good inspector team. So including myself, I have an additional 3 other inspectors. So there's 4 full-time inspectors on our team. We have a full-time sewer scope environmental technician who does more than just sewer scopes. He does indoor air quality testing, radon, a whole lot of environmental style of air quality, and just a wide variety of different things our clients need. And then we have Carolyn, who's my office manager, who's amazing, and she is a person that's always endlessly available, which is amazing, especially when it comes to booking inspections. We're in a situation now where things really have to be done immediately, and our office is purposely built to be able to get things in within about a 48-hour time period or less sometimes. So if you have those immediate needs, we're available right away. Kind of the approach of what I wanted to do today, and we may take it this way or we may take it completely different, it's up to you guys, is we really kind of tailored a conversation more towards first time or very new real estate agents, and just what goes on in a home inspection. What should I expect? How long should it take? Where's the inspector going? What's going on that way? How can I help prepare a seller for a home inspection? So we can go that direction, or we can open it up to, if you guys have ever had a question you've been dying to ask a home inspector, you can pick my brain as much as you want, and we can hit all of those wild and crazy experiences you may have had in the past. You may even have situations in your current home that you have questions about. I can give you some good information and experience knowledge-wise that maybe can help you through a different process or transaction, or even your own home style situations. So what would you guys prefer? I want to give you the most information that I can, and really help you be better at your jobs just as well as I want to get better at mine. So,
I think we can do some question and answer at the end, because there's not as many people here today, and so yeah, if you have
sure.
If you have the content, I'd say
yeah. So let's just kind of begin with what a home inspection is. I know we're in this weird market right now where a lot of people are really questioning whether a home inspection is valuable or not. And a lot of times the question comes back to a buyer is to say, hey, well, the seller's not going to do anything with this information, so why even get a home inspection? Why is there value for that? And it's important to take a step back and first understand what a home inspection is and why it was originally started. So home inspections were started in about the early 70s in the Northeast. There's actually 2 guys in Connecticut that had their friends that started asking them to come around these homes that they were purchasing and give their opinions on what was going on with the homes. We're good?
Sorry, I was just talking.
So as they were starting that whole procedure of here's a home, my friend's calling me to ask me what's going on with it. So as a contractor, which both those guys were, they just walk around these homes and start pointing out things here and there. And through that initial process, built an industry really. As an industry, home inspection is pretty young. I mean, we're only looking at 45 years, 50 years of actually this whole procedure happening. And you look at real estate as a whole has been around forever. I mean, it's been around for a really, really long time. We could even argue that some of the, conquering of different countries way, way, way back when was a form of real estate transfer. They just, instead of spending money, used other methods to get what they needed. But home inspection was designed as a process and is designed as a process and procedure for a prospective individual, whether it's a homeowner or home seller or a buyer of a prospective property, to understand what they're buying or what they own. And through that information, they can make a good decision as far as what needs to be done in the future to maintain and keep it up. In a buyer situation, sometimes it's the due diligence of saying, well, this is the right home for me, or maybe there's too many projects that I don't have the capability or financial means to take care of. And so therefore, I'm going to look for something else. Or it meets those needs and I can make that appropriate decision in the best way. Home inspections, though, also have gone through this period where they all have been used as a negotiation tool. The home inspector says the roof shot, so I'm going to go back to the seller in order to keep this particular transaction together, ask for some sort of amendment or change in order for that to continue, whether that's a new roof or a credit for a roof or whatever it is, reduction in price. That's kind of where the home inspection, places have kind of been put into different sides of the real estate transaction. But really, its whole intention it's never been designed as a source of negotiation. It's more of a due diligence tool. And I think that's one of those things that people are often forgetting about. What are your clients' opinions really when it comes to home inspection? What do they see, especially in a market like we have today, where it's very rare that a seller is going to actually do anything out of the home inspection? What's kind of their feelings?
Yeah, I would agree. It's more so based off, it's more so you know what you're buying, as opposed to you can negotiate. Sometimes you can negotiate, but as you alluded to, there's way more buyers than there are sellers. And so if you ask for too much, the seller will just go back in the market.
Yeah, they will. And many times they have 15 other offers, or they have something else that's in the pipeline. And honestly, from the seller's perspective, does it make a whole lot of sense to do it? It doesn't. Once again, is that opportunity for a buyer to understand exactly what they're purchasing. We also are in a weird market where there are a lot of people that are foregoing inspections because there's a lot of emotion now. When you're put that 10th offer on the 10th home and you've lost 9 other ones because you've been the guy that said, I really want a home inspection, you have the emotional torn or tearness, or that's not the right word. You have that emotional, connection to say, well, maybe if I don't do the inspection, they're going to accept my offer. And that happens a lot. It's been a big change to our industry. It's something that we noticed drastically changed about this time last year. And it ebbs and flows. In some months we see a little more, especially those heavier inventory months, which really haven't been too much. But when you see our heavier inventory month, we notice, especially from our perspective, that our inspections kind of follow suit with what's going on in the market, which has been interesting. It's been a challenge. It's been unique, but it's one of those things that you just keep on pushing forward and keep on doing. So inspections themselves, home inspection typically is going to take between 2.5 and 3 hours, and that's generally to be expected for most home inspection companies. If you're going to get an inspection that's a full inspection that's less than that 2-hour mark, it sometimes can be questioned as far as if the home inspector is going through all normal procedures that they should. Although there are some homes that you can just really just go through very quickly, and it's just because the home is the home, and that's what it is. But on a general style situation, I would tell your clients and your customers to expect anywhere between 2.5 to 3 hours worth of time for the home inspection. Costs on home inspections are changing quite a bit. There is really no longer that $350 deal that forever everyone has said, oh, you're going to spend $350 on a home inspection. That's just not the case anymore. If your clients are spending too little on a home inspection, they're going to get the same return on that money. Generally, most home inspections are going to be anywhere between $500 and $800, depending on what the clients are looking for or needing. If they're wanting to do sewer scoping, if they're wanting to do air quality testing, if they're wanting to do other water testing, there are different fees associated with that and different things that the customer is going to get out of that particular tool and information. So especially as you're giving information to your buyers and or sellers and saying, hey, here's what your expectations should be, just be aware that costs from a home inspection standpoint have increased for a variety of reasons, but that $350 inspection just is not realistic. We have sometimes some of our prospective customers that will call and say, well, my agent said that it's only going to be this much. And, you know, it may be only that much for the guy that's brand new, that's done very, very few inspections and is looking for an opportunity to, you know, present himself. But it's not the reality for a seasoned, good quality home inspection company. Any questions, thoughts that way? What are some of your customers' experiences, or do they get overly concerned inspection pricing, or what's been some of your experiences?
The only time I have clients trip about the price is when they're doing a pre-inspection, but that's a whole other conversation. I was going to ask that later, ask you about pre-inspections. So, but yeah, I agree with you. If you're getting an inspection on a home, you shouldn't trip about $100
for sure.
So,
yeah, it's one of those things where, you know, home inspectors the least paid in the whole transaction as far as monetary. But we still have a very important role to play in helping that prospective homeowner understand their home as well as we can, best we can. We have a variety of tools that we use in our office that are really helpful for our customers to get really good information. Did you guys know that we do a 360 tour with our many of our home inspections? And that is a very specific style of inspection. That's actually a 360 inspection, where we'll do a 360 imaging and integrate the inspection findings, the report findings, into that 360 tour. So when our customer that's out of state is trying to discover where the fault or the problem is, they can go to the north side of the home and they can see the siding that the home inspector had recommended have repair in place, remedy, whatever it is, which is really a really nice tool. It's also very helpful for a lot of our agents that we work with, in that they typically don't have to go back to those properties many times to go, you know, do measurements for floors, because we also provide a full floor plan as part of that. It's full dimensional. It's within 5% accuracy. So we tell our customers to never use it to get their blind measurements. But if they're gonna, you know, plan on where they're gonna put their furniture or put carpeting or even paint walls, it gives really good information for all of that, which hopefully can make your lives easier to say, well, you can just open up the 360 tour and tell you exactly what the dimensions of the room are. You don't need to go back to help you do measurements as far as where your couch or your TV or something else may need to be hung. Just give you a nice time saving. We also use infrared quite a bit. Infrared, if you're not familiar with it, is a specific way of measuring temperature, and then a camera takes that infrared image or that temperature rating and creates an image. And that helps to look for water issues. It also helps to look for electrical style concerns. It's a really nice tool, and it's a good benefit in helping us do a good field inspection. But those are just kind of some of the additional things that make us a lot different than many of our competition. Our inspection reports are available same day, and many times available on site. So depending on what is going on with the property, most of the time when the inspector is leaving, the report is available and ready for the client to have. Typically that's via email. We can, in some situations, print on site. We did print a lot pre-COVID. In fact, most of our inspections were printed on site pre-COVID. As we've gone through the past couple of years, that's something that most of our customers haven't wanted the physical paper and have wanted to have just a digital version. But once again, it's available right then and now. And that.
But can we see your 360? Can we get like a link of your 360 that we can send in the recap email?
Yep. In fact, yes, we can.
Or if you email it to me, I can even put it up on the screen.
I can. Actually, on this one, I can't because of the way it's set up. But this is, I don't know if you guys can see it very well, but this is just an example of property. We had some roof issues on this particular home. And while they're on the north side, they can pull up the inspection comment that's in their normal report. So the report's pretty standard, but it brings it into a new way of looking at it. We're going into this new metaverse style of experience. At least that's what Facebook wants us to be doing, is moving into a metaverse style of experience. So who knows, maybe someday you'll be reviewing all of your inspection report findings with 3D goggles on and be able to just, you know, feel like you're directly right in front of the home as you're looking at those concerns.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's super cool. If you would share that with either Isaac or myself, we'll include that in the recap email, because that's really different than anything else that I've seen.
And then, you know, the customers as well get a series of floor plans. And of course, we decided to close.
Now they have the new, we have a new package. It's ultimate home inspection. And it also includes the recalls on appliances and how to maintain, and you can set that up as far as like with the furnaces and the changing of your filters. And it's just this interactive, amazing home ownership piece of it. So once you purchase the home, you have all of this information at your fingertips that pertains to specifically what is in your house.
Right.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's basically a handbook for your home. And so what we do is we collect the serial number models of the appliances, the different major components in the home. And this particular software provides the customer with any recalls that are associated with any of the appliances. It also gives them all the manuals that are associated with those appliances. It'll give them, if it's a standard size of filter, it'll tell them the filter sizes. It'll also send reminders if they'd like as far as when filters should be replaced. They can go through and they can put in information related to like the fridge, water system. What's the filter that goes in that? You have a nice app. And so if they're at Home Depot, they can pull that up and say, okay, here's the size filter that I need for my Kenmore refrigerator, whatever it may be. So it's really a whole home experience. Home inspection is a lot more than just a walkthrough of here's what's going on with the home. Our purpose is to be an educator, and really that's where it's always been for me is the home inspection is an education. We want our clients and customers to understand what they're buying, why they're buying it, what the good, the bads, and the uglies are, and then also what they should think about for the future. And part of those things are, where's that service manual if I need it? Where are some of these other pieces that go beyond just owning the home? It's fun. I mean, it's been really interesting to kind of see over these last 18 years how the evolution of inspection really has changed. And then we get into other things that go beyond home inspections, like adding sewer scoping and doing air quality testings and water testing and radon testing and doing tie-down inspections for manufactured homes. I mean, there's just a wide variety of different things that home inspectors can do, or people in our office especially can. So.
It's an air quality test.
So an air quality test is it's basically a sampling of the air that's inside the home, a sampling of the air outside the home to determine molds and mildews that are in the air. And so that information is really valuable to determine what would be normal for that season versus abnormal. So if we did a test outside and we found that there was 10 spores of penicillium outside, we did a test inside and we found that there was 100 spores of penicillium and 50 spores of aspergillus, then we know that we have a problem that's going on inside the home, because we have an outside sample that's giving us our base, and we have an inside sample that's telling us what's going on in the home at that moment. And so from that information, we could say, okay, we have a water issue, we have some air quality issue that needs to be further reviewed and remedied. Typically, when it comes to molds and mildews, we're going to first look for any signs of water style of issues or concerns. Second to that would be, do we have nasty carpets that are holding a lot of either moisture, or have they held a lot of that spore count over the long term? There's just a lot of different things and places that we can use that information to move on to the next steps. So more of our customers that are more susceptible to that style of concern, that's going to be one of their bigger issues, but it's also a discovery tool. So it's one of those things where it can help say, okay, this is either a good situation or we need to discover more.
And all of these are like a la carte.
Yep. Now we do tier some of our inspection packages into different tiers, so that we have kind of the basics of what most of our customers and clients want. And then we have the a la carte stuff. So if they went with a plus, which is just our standard home inspection, and they wanted to do air quality testing, that's fantastic. If they want to do a premium, which includes the 3D, the 360 tour and some other things, and then they wanted to do sewer scoping, that's fantastic as well. So there's just a lot of different options that our customers have. we've determined and found that there's really not one size a shoe for most of our customers. Most of them have different varied needs, and it's nice that we are able to provide that.
Yeah, I guess your job is to be thorough and objective.
Absolutely.
But I think when it comes to our clients, it's the narrative that's, they want to know, okay, so am I still good to buy it? And that's where sometimes I'm uncomfortable. I don't want to be pushy, going, oh, that's nothing to worry about. Because everyone has kind of their threshold for paying after the purchase.
Absolutely.
Right?
And
so in your write-up of your report, and maybe their access to you to say, hey, how bad is this? You know, sometimes it's not even just the dollar amount, it's what kind of
Oh, absolutely. You know, there's 1,000 different ways to say the same things. And we've all been through those very intense home inspectors that, you know, it could be that this door doesn't close right and it just needs a couple of shims in the hinges to make it close right. And
they doesn't close right. Was that totally just a shot? It literally doesn't close right now. We're getting it fixed.
I did notice it, but
okay. I was like, was that really a random example? That's pretty funny.
it was kind of off the cuff, but I did notice it. It was kind of one of those things where it's like in the back of my head, I knew it was going on. Anyways, I look pretty good right now. I you know, I'll take it out.
All right, you're right. That was fantastic. My God.
But
Since 5 minutes already seen the door.
What else did you notice wrong with the place?
Yeah, my house is going.
It's pretty cold in here.
every inspector that I've ever hired, I've told them day one, I'm going to teach you a skill and an art that's also going to become the biggest curse you've ever known. Because you literally cannot walk into a room without having things just pop. And then you have to learn, hey, when do I say something? When do I know? Like those are kind of hard too. So I mean, it was pretty good, right? So, but right on with where I feel like you may be going as far as the question is, what I guess my response is that there's a lot of different ways to say the same thing. And from my perspective, it's best to go, here's what it is, here's why it's a concern, and here's what you should do next. That's how we write all of our comments of sort in that pattern. The door needs to be repaired, or the door isn't closing right. That's the problem. The door should be looked at by a door person, properly adjusted, repaired in order for it to work like it's intended. And then it's up to that consumer to make that decision. There are some times where it's things where it's like, it is an immediate health or safety issue, and these style immediate health or safety issues really should be attended to right away. We have a major gas leak. Yeah, we want to tell the sellers we have a major gas leak because we need to address this right away. But because of the many things that I've seen, it's interesting how my perspective over the years has changed related to what once in the beginning of my career would have been like, oh crap, this is crazy, to now it's like, it's not right. It's not like it should be, but it will probably continue to perform, maybe. Should it be addressed? Yeah, but does it need to be like attended to immediately? Maybe not.
Yeah, there are some frustrating things that we have to deal with where it's like one that comes up, you know, 9 out of 10 inspections is rodent activity in the crawl space rack. I mean, literally 9 out of 10 inspections have rodent activity in the crawl space rack. And if they don't, it's because they just had something in their crawl space and not cleaning up. That's the only reason there's no rodent activity. So like I always try and get the inspector. I use the inspector because like you, Che, I don't like to be the one to have to say it. But I say, okay, so how many homes do you see that have similar rodent activity? And then the inspector will be like, oh, almost all of it. And then I look at the buyer and I'm like, does that make sense? Like this is like, I'm not saying it's nothing.
Right.
Have rat traps. That's great. But it's also in just about every home. Another one in this area, especially we're in a wet climate, to say the least. There's probably not 9 out of 10, but 4 out of 5 homes in the attic have a little bit of growth on the underside of the roof. Not, you know, just a little bit of, I guess you'd call it mold. And there's a difference between dry rot and mold. mold is treatable, right? And I'm telling you now, turn, I'm not
Yeah,
an
no, you're
inspector,
good, you're
but
good.
mold is treatable. You can get somebody out here, or you can literally go to Home Depot and get stuff that you spray on it,
Mhm.
and it will kill it.
Yep.
And you know, it could be a sign of improper ventilation in the attic,
Mhm.
or it could just be a sign of the fact that we live in a wet climate. And so again, that's where I feel like it's good to have an inspector who will point things out, but also let them know that the sky's not falling. Like
Sure.
this is very normal and very treatable.
Yeah.
And that's like my biggest concern is when an inspector like just says there's a problem and doesn't point out that this is a very common problem.
Yeah, I think it's important to build a perspective. One thing you don't see, and you don't see a perspective style statement in a home inspection report, because once it's written, it's gospel, right? So let's say that I said in a situation that, like the mold in the attic, that, you know, this appears to be very, very normal. It also very likely is related to when the home was built, it was built in the wintertime, and that these are the top two pieces of OSB that were on top of the stack, right? So you're gonna have some growth, and that's totally normal. It doesn't indicate that you're gonna have active ongoing style issues. It doesn't indicate that you're gonna have any concern that way. The customer and I would have that conversation, but, and it depends on what the situation is, but you know, if it was pretty minor, then we probably would just have a conversation and say there's minor growth, watch, monitor, and make appropriate repairs as you need. But if you see excessive and you see growth is changing, then that's where the conversation is a little different.
Well, I think we can all agree, like none of us want the inspector to cover anything up. No one's
No,
saying that. But at the same time, like, and also in writing, you have to cover your own
You know,
but and say everything. But it's more like the verbal afterwards.
Oh,
I
for
think
sure.
that's the most important part of the inspection
Mhm.
is saying, okay, you're gonna get 40 pages to
Mhm.
60 pages of problems.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the problems and what's common and what's actually like this should be addressed immediately.
Mhm.
Yeah, anyways, that's like the most important part for me is having someone who will explain that to the clients, because we see inspections all the time. We can tell them that like, that's normal, but they're like, oh my God,
Right.
this home is a piece of crap.
Yeah, I know. And it's very easy to look from that lens when you're just seeing the things that are advice for improvement. Really, a home inspection is two parts. You have written and verbal. We have been in this strange market for the past many years where the inspection reports, while they shouldn't be, get passed around from one person to the next and the next. And a lot of people have seen the written of a lot of different homes, but have never heard the verbal on those homes. And they are missing big pieces of really understanding that inspection, that report, that home. It's an interesting change, or, you know, I guess facet of what we've seen over the last several years. The other side is while we have things that are normal, there still are aspects that have large expenses. Like road remediation now is really pricey. You're looking anywhere between $1,500 on the low end, typically, to 10 grand, depending on how expensive some of the road activities are. And so, you know, there are aspects of things that are absolutely normal. Rodents we're seeing all over. Seriously, 8 out of 10 homes, and it is those 2 out of the 10 that have just been recently remediated that we're not seeing issues. So it's not to say it's not uncommon, but also to be aware that that repair still has a pretty nice price tag that's associated with it. And so if a customer isn't aware or a client isn't understanding of, you know, if I do want to get this fixed, then, you know, there's going to be a large outtake that can be sometimes hard for them to grasp at moments. So it makes it fun. Questions? What else can we hit on? I kind of hit a little bit of a mental wall right there. I don't know why.
Yeah,
You mentioned, was it within 40 hours you can schedule an
48
inspection?
for sure.
And it's by phone, or you have an app, or on
Phone, text. We do have an app. We haven't used the app a ton, but we do have an app. Carolyn's amazing as far as responding to text. Usually it's just right away, and she's a live person. Does a really good job. And we've got a team that's there, but also very well trained and very, very experienced to get things done in a good professional way.
You have a certain region coverage area, or additional for travel time for other areas?
So our service area is Thurston, Mason, Lewis, Grace Harbor, Pierce counties. Typically we won't go up to King unless we can make it work. And our big caveat with King is traffic. You just can't gauge it all the time. We have been everywhere though. So there are moments that we'll go out to Packwood. You know, some of those places, we do have a travel fee because I have a guy that's sitting in a car for 2 hours to get there and 2 hours to get back. And we've got to make sure that that's going to be appropriate for that particular individual. So yeah, we've literally been this side of the state all the way down to Vancouver or all the way up to Bellingham. Now, typically, if we're going to go really far distances, it's for a very specific agent, very specific client. It's a unique situation. Most of the work that we're doing is in that, you know, major county area that I just talked about. And we've experienced, I'd say every style of home, but the day I say that, it's going to have some weird home that you never seen before. But we've done anything from, you know, 1800s homes all the way through new construction from 500 square feet to 15,000 square feet. We also have a team that's available to set up properly that we can do big stuff. We've done huge commercial properties, and we can do we've done several hotels in 5 or 6 hours because we have 4 of us there at the same time. And our software set up that we can do that. We can do a lot, and we have the right team to do it.
Do you have any packages for pre-inspections? Like a lot of times clients want. Well, I've heard mixed. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
I've heard some inspectors say this is legal and some say it's not legal regarding pre-inspections without a report. So I'll let you respond to that. But like, can you do a pre-inspection and not give a report? Because a lot of times clients just want an inspector to go through and be like, "You good? There's some issues, but nothing. You know, it's not falling over type thing."
Right.
But I've heard some inspectors say you can't do that, and some say you can. And then if you can't do that, do you have packages that are maybe less money to do a pre-inspection, or just can you talk about that?
Yeah, I can. So we do have a program that we put together for that style of situation, where it is a walk and talk style situation. Honestly, there's a lot of disadvantage to doing that style of inspection, and a lot of them come back to the consumer, to that particular buyer, in that by not having a written detailed report, they don't have anything that they can go back to later on to ensure that they're keeping their home working well.
Right.
They also don't have any legal opportunity to go back to a home inspector and say, "Hey, Mr. Home Inspector, you messed up. You didn't tell me that this roof needs to be replaced," because we have nothing really other than a contract that says I came out and did a walk and talk. That's it.
Yeah.
And there's no legal protection to them from that perspective during that situation. But biggest, they don't have a detailed report to go back to and really, you know, look at what they have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, oh, and it's one of those things that, you know, I can't remember every word that I say while I'm doing a walk around. They can't remember every word I say, and so who's to say that I didn't say the roof needed to be replaced, and who's to say that I did? So that's kind of a downside to it.
No, I totally get that, but the only problem is, like, I never have a client complain about $550 inspection after they have the home. But it's when they're doing a pre-inspection, they're like, I might pay $550 and then not even get my offer accepted.
Right.
So that's why they want to save money.
Yeah.
And I get that. I mean, I agree with you, but at the same time, they're a little more frugal when they've been burnt a bunch.
Right.
Not by burnt by the inspection, but burnt by the fact that they just barely missed another offer.
Right.
So
And that's understandable. I totally get that. The other side, though, is you have a professional. You have a true professional that's doing their job, right? So where's the line of what's my value worth? I've got 18 years worth of experience. Sure, I can go through a house in 2.5 to 3 hours, but I'm also very skilled at what I do. And so where's the value change? You know, you get to a certain point where it's like, what's the value of that information? The way that we've structured ours is, yes, it is a reduced price. It's $375, I think, is what we charge for those walk and talk style of inspections. Personally, I don't like doing them. It's not that I don't like doing them. I just feel like I'm not giving my customer the full experience that they should be experiencing.
And Isaac, this is something that's come up since pandemic and the bananas market and everything. The strategy is buyer thinks I'm gonna go out house shopping. I won't have time to schedule an official inspection. So I'll do a pre-inspection.
no, so the idea is if you have an inspection contingency, in your offer, that's way less attractive to somebody who doesn't have an inspection
Right.
package,
Yeah.
because
Yep.
even though there's an understanding in this hot market that like you're not gonna be asking for a bunch of repairs or reductions, you can. And the seller is kind of between a rock and a hard place because they don't really want to go back to the market with black eye. So anyways, your offer looks way stronger if you've done a pre-inspection, because you're saying, okay, yeah, we're aware that there's some mold in the attic, we're aware of a little bit of rodent damage and some knob and tubing in the bedrooms.
If you're looking at 10 houses and you have to write on 15.
Right, and then you spend $500 on 10 houses, yeah.
Yeah.
So is that trend falling aside now? Was that something that was really?
It was more so last year and the year before when it was
It's
hot. I haven't
starting to
seen,
fall
well, I mean, this year's, it's so early in this year, so
Well,
that's
What
but-
about seller, like, I don't picture a situation where I'm gonna talk a seller into paying for a report that he knows full well the buyer has to pay for.
Oh,
So like getting this, how many
A-
sellers are doing
the
this?
seller
pre-inspection?
inspection is the best money spent.
yeah,
By
I
far.
totally disagree on that one. I
No,
think a
I'm just
seller
saying
inspection
that's-
makes so much
That's
sense.
the feedback that I would imagine I would get, but what you're saying is it is becoming standard practice.
I wouldn't say standard practice, but I think if you have a seller, so there's a lot of
Maybe on the
caveats
higher
here.
end
Right.
homes, I would imagine, where they can.
Yeah,
afford
yeah, I
it.
probably wouldn't do it on a low end home, but on something 500 plus, not even high end, but like not the low end. And you have a seller who has a home that is at least fairly well maintained, right? Not a home that's really in disarray.
Mhm.
I love suggesting pre-inspections
Mhm.
that you pay for and then you provide as a supplement. So when buyers are looking at it, they can also review the inspection.
Right, but
And then you say, waive your inspection because we've already done an inspection. The only negative with that is anything that you find, now you have to disclose to the seller.
Right.
So just be prepared for the worst. You know, if there is a serious problem, you either have to, now you have to disclose that, which may affect the value, or you have to fix it.
So but you're finding that more often than not, you can have a conversation with the seller and he will buy an inspection.
No,
And
you know,
you're
most of the time sellers are cheap.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, but I would. If I was selling my home
Buyers.
tomorrow, I would absolutely do it.
But is that a bulk of your business now?
No, I mean, a bulk of our business has been the buyer's
Okay, so it's
side.
an option, but the
but
sellers are still.
Here's what our sellers don't understand, and this is what's crazy to me. They see it as, oh, I'm gonna throw this money out there, I have this expense, right? I have $500 expense for this useless information that's not gonna help me at all. But what they don't understand is they now hold every card available to them, every card.
Yeah.
They have way too many people that want to buy their house regardless of condition. It really doesn't matter condition wise right now. There's no buyer. They, they have to disclose, but now they've opened themselves up to look like they have just been the most free flowing of information style of seller. You know, yeah, the roof shot. We know it's shot. We don't want to do anything with it. We priced a home according to the roof being shot.
Yeah, knowledge
We
is
have
power.
five,
So now you get ahead of it.
Yeah.
You say, yeah, here, the roof needs to be replaced. I've already told you that.
Right. It brings all of that, I mean, all the cards, like a buyer doesn't really have any cards really in this market to the most part.
Yeah.
But now you give the seller even more because let's say that the home inspection did happen on an offer that they've accepted. Now they have a roof that they know about that needs to be replaced. They've already got a contracted price. We're gonna have some negotiation because that is a big ticket item. They're gonna have a reduction in either price, they're gonna have to spend money for a roof on, they're gonna have to make some change. So it's just one of those things where it's hard to explain. It's hard for them to understand the value until they understand the value. It's, in my opinion, that $500 pays off 10, 15 times.
Yeah.
Just in them understanding what's going on. So I wish that was more readily done.
Yeah,
And we
I'm
have,
curious about how many sellers are going, sure, let's do that.
it's the agent that understands it and can help that particular seller understand why it's value.
Right.
That's the ones that happen. Yeah.
Price point, you know, you're looking at a $1 million house, you should want to provide it for some.
Then you're not blindsided as a seller.
Well,
You know, you're talking about a lot of money.
yeah.
Those kind of things end up to be litigious.
No, if you're talking about even a litigious cycle, if they have the information, they say, well, here's what our home inspector said, when that particular buyer moves in, even if they didn't do their own inspection, and the buyer finds something, they now can say, well, we had a third party come through that didn't discover that wasn't occurring at the time of the sale. This isn't an issue. You can't come back to me and say that I sold you this property that wasn't what I told you I sold you. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out in the next, year, several years related to all of this forgoing of inspection. And
Yeah.
I know that it's things that, yeah, we signed away, we said you should do an inspection, you didn't do an inspection. There's just a lot of stuff that comes back through that cycle. We have a lot of buyers right now that are putting every penny they can into an offer and literally have nothing to take care of things that are coming up. So, they don't have the knowledge and information, and it's understandable why they're in that situation because the emotional side, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. So my perspective is, and I'm biased, 100% biased. Everyone needs a home inspection. You need, all the time, a buyer, seller, grandma, cousin, everyone needs one. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next several years from those that are not taking that advantage. And yeah, it's going to be interesting.
I've also bought, as a closing gift from clients who waived inspections, uninspection.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because then it's like they ever come back and say like, yeah, he was just trying to get me to buy the home. It's like, then why would I have bought an inspection?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
That's
come on.
that idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's like $500 closing gift,
Well, that's
and,
like a home warranty costs are even a little cheaper
Yeah.
Or room though, for some people.
than.
Yep.
It's good.
That's right. Especially in the middle of the night.
I bought it.
See, I got cheese.
Loves it.
But it's an interesting market. It really is. It's been through the ups and the downs, and we just keep on riding it out, and it'll change. Always does.
It does.
Yeah, all I know is up and down. Came right after the
No.
recession, so it's just like,
Yeah.
what's happening this year?
It's crazy.
A pandemic,
just here
okay.
for-
How are inspections going?
Oh, it's super good though. I mean, honestly, we've got a fantastic team. We would love to earn all of your business. We'd love to work with each one of you. And yeah, any other questions? Anything you guys have been dying to ask a home inspector? I know it's probably waited all night last night thinking about what would I die to ask a home inspector.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was it's one of those things. Super exciting. Okay, well,
Good. Can you tell everybody how to get a hold of you? We'll put it in the email, but how to get a hold of you and also how to schedule an inspection.
sure. So the easiest way to get a hold of us is call our office or text our office, and Christina has some cards.
Yes, I laid out cards and info right there.
Yep.
Awesome.
And I personally don't do a ton of inspecting myself. I have a lot of things to do in running the business. I'm the owner of this office, I didn't say that earlier, but I have a lot of things that I personally do, but my team is amazing. There are occasions though when I do inspections and, my team is just awesome.
You know
So,
what I have liked in the last couple of years,
Mhm.
just popped into my head, is being on social media and you guys will say, have a cancellation, have an opening, or light week or something. I like that. And it's like personable because it's through social media, we're all watching each other work all day anyway. So I always like it when you guys pop in, we have a cancellation, there's an opening for, because somebody needs, in this craziness, somebody's gonna need that. That's a value.
Yeah.
But
But
that's
we had
just-
that happen too.
Stress.
Yeah, they decided to not go through the transaction, the home purchase was, canceled. Hey, we'll get a text or something, oh my gosh, I just had this happen, I need it done
Because at this
ASAP.
point, the whole inspection seems like something scary, ominous, will we be able to get an appointment, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So I like the little shout outs when you have a schedule
Well, that's good to
opening.
know, that's good to know.
Yeah.
yeah, so on that, follow us. We're on Instagram and
Yep.
Facebooks and all kinds of other stuff. So we have TikTok. We don't have TikTok for that.
That's okay, we don't either.
That would be a bad thing.
I draw the line, I draw the line.
I will not even set foot into TikTok.
No.
I can't do it.
No, Ryan, one of our lead inspector, Ryan, he has a TikTok account, but it's a hybrid. It's actually a fusion of his personal life and then some really odd things that he finds and home inspections, like
That's a big
really
TikTok
funky,
channel.
yeah, finds. And some of them are just, wow. And, there's inspections that we go in for people that play on certain sports teams around the area. And they give you permission to film their personal gear.
Or when you guys are up on a roof looking at some cool.
Yeah,
front,
some
I like
beautiful
those.
landscape or something, but then there's some odd things that people
There are
repair
some strange
themselves
things
that we have to talk about too. It's like, oh, this is interesting, and he'll go into detail about, you know, the thought process, so.
But we also don't ever publish where it's at, what it is. It's all very, very
No.
inconspicuous, like,
Yeah.
it's not, we're
Unless
not
you
the.
live there, you wouldn't recognize it.
You would have no idea what's
No
going on.
idea.
We don't want our customers to have any bad experiences. We don't want our sellers to have any bad experiences. But there are some times that it's just like, wow, the world needs to see this. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Or this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And the world needs to see this because it's,
Or when he's attacked by a rooster.
that was really funny. We've had some unique experiences.
Comedy,
Yeah, we had some strange experiences.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, we're really easy to get a hold of, and education wise, there's a lot that if you guys would like to do or ever want opportunities to have in-house education. Like I say, I've been teaching for a long, long time. I've got classes on just about everything you can think about home related. So if you have a want or desire for clock hour style of education, I can definitely help with that. Or if you just have a 1 hour or half hour or 10-minute style of, I'd really like the office to know more about radon. Why is radon an issue? On the maps, it says radon's not an issue here. You know, there's lots of different things that I would love to be a resource for your office on. So if I can help in any way, I'd certainly love to do that for sure.
Sounds good. Thanks again.
And
Yeah.
then just a reminder, send me your 360 stuff and
Yeah.
any other cool features that you guys have, so I can include that in your recap email. I'll also include your contact information.
Awesome.
Grades and everything.
Thank you.
Do you want me to do? That's so boring, but okay.
This is a smaller room today.
Yeah, it's small.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And you got